What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Yee Yee Podcast. My name is Parker Smith. I'm joined with my two brothers, Granger and Tyler, founders of Yee Yee. What's up, guys?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, guys. We have an inside joke in the office that if you call someone buddy, it's a little bit demeaning. Thoughts?
That's just you.
If you're at a gas station and someone calls you chief, do you view that as slightly insulting?
Mm-hmm.
My thought is chief, boss, bud, slightly insulting.
Bud does that
depending
for
on the
me.
person.
B-U-D, bud.
Just bud.
I think that's a you problem, though. Not a you, but like, I don't think it's if they're calling you chief or bud or buddy. I don't think they have like any malicious intent to like belittle you.
Goodness, bud.
Maybe it's just a me problem.
I don't think.
I view man, dude, as we're equals.
Even then, I don't think he had malicious intent.
I wish we
you?
could tell that story on the podcast. That is
We
an
will one day.
incredible story.
Still need to make T-shirts.
We have been silent. There's a lot of things from the music side that we've been silent about because we don't want to demean another camp, another band group. But we have some stories, man. That are,
I need to. Can Amber make me some so I can send to Ryan and Nard?
yeah.
So they could wear it.
Yeah.
Nard and Ryan are with Cody Johnson now, and we love Cody Johnson and their whole crew, and we're excited for Ryan and Nard to be.
Who is Nard?
Nard is our old merchandise guy. Sold
Matt Renard.
Yeah, sold merch on the road for Granger.
Goodness, bud.
Love inside jokes. Love to be a part of one
Do
someday.
you know about that, don't you?
Nope.
No.
You don't know Goodness,
he
bud?
Yeah, he does. He just doesn't remember.
We are here. I can't stand when podcasts start and then people ramble for 7
can't
minutes.
either.
I always fast forward. So sorry about that, everybody. We are here to talk about the best gun, the best gun to shoot a deer with. First, we're going to address, it's deer season. It started last week in Texas, at least. Rifle season, that is.
Did you
before
shoot
get on
anything?
me.
Oh, that was just me.
So we're going to talk about the best gun to shoot a deer with. First off, what is the first gun that you guys used to shoot your first deer?
Me, it was that 7mm 08.
Yeah, mine was 270 Weatherby Vanguard, and that happened because those were Dad's guns, and for some reason, at some point in the line, you took the 7mm 08 and I took the 270, and we just never deviated from that ever. Like that became our guns.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I'd get the 7mm 08,
And every once in a while, I'd get the 270.
and I'd be like, man, this is awesome because it's lighter.
And I think that about the 270.
But
It's
we
bigger.
always, yeah.
Granger, we'll start with you. Where were you? What was the situation?
Are we talking about
Let's talk about
buck or
I don't remember
doe?
doe.
Your first
Do you
deer.
remember doe?
Man, I think that my first doe was at Miss Holland's place with Dad. Yeah, it was. It was Miss Holland's place, and it was raining, and I was probably 11 or 10, maybe 10, and it was raining, and Dad wanted me to get a doe so bad, and we had one day to do it, and these doe come running, and I remember Dad was whistling. He could whistle so loud, and finally they stopped to look at that whistle. He's like, "Take it," and I was shot right on Dad's shoulder, and shot my first doe that way.
And from a blind?
No, we were just out in the field because we were just walking, and we saw these doe running. Dad panicked because it's like, here's my only chance for my son to shoot this doe, and it was raining, and like the sun was going down. He's and one doe just stopped and looked back at what that sound was, and Dad's like, "Take him, take her."
How old were you?
I can't remember, probably 10, 11.
Was it public land?
No, it was Miss Holland's, that place we used to
That's our
deer
deer
lease.
lease.
A
You
deer
never
lease
knew
in
it.
South Texas.
You weren't even born yet.
Marble Falls.
It was in Llano County. Yeah,
Is it Lano or Burnett?
I think it was Llano. And yeah, Miss Holland. We called it Miss Holland's place, but it was a deer lease Dad had. It's like 130 acres or so that Dad leased. And there was never good deer there. It was always small bucks, but that's where I got my first doe. And then my first buck was in Shackelford County in Albany, another deer lease that we leased at the time. And that was with the 7mm 08 by myself. It's back when we had walkie-talkies. And so we didn't know what was on that ranch at all. So that was kind of neat. And Dad was like, if it has 10 points, take it. And that was the year, that county.
Was your first buck? That like
the crab, yeah. That,
I shot a buck before you. How old were you?
13 maybe. And that deer, that's when that county had those forked horns that went in. Remember that? You shot one similar to it. That in the genetics of that place, in that county, there were those forks that came, that G1 and G2 almost met each other and faced in. It was so weird. I don't know where that mount is.
I know where mine is. Ben, could you go grab it from my bathroom real quick? That might be cool to show it. It's in my room. Yeah. It's in the bathroom, just off the wall.
Where would mine be? Like in Mom's barn or something? Maybe? I don't know where it is. But that was my first buck. And I think it was 10 points. It was a small 10, but then I got Dad on the walkie-talkie and he said, what'd you get? I said, I got him.
When you were a kid, either in that situation or the first deer, did you guys gut it in the field, or did you take it back to camp, or did you guys take it somewhere and had someone else gut it?
That deer, I shot it by myself. Dad was probably with you. And so I shot it by myself, got out, and then Dad came. We had Earl's truck back then. That's became known as Earl's truck, the green GMC 74. So Dad comes up in that truck. We put it in the back. We took it back to the trailer. We had a construction trailer that we stayed in, and we gutted it there. Remember that? Do you remember Shackelford County?
No.
I don't think Parker, he was a baby. He's like 2 or 3.
Wow. Yeah.
Granger and Tyler are 14 and 10 years older than me. So a lot of these memories that I hear, I don't remember.
Yeah, I guess you weren't born then.
That's wild. We had the rough days of hunting. He had the privileged days of hunting.
But those days were so fun, man, because we didn't know what we were going to see.
Yeah.
We didn't know if a monster buck was going to come out, or it was so fun.
And Granger, your son Lincoln is how old now?
9.
And you just took him on his first hunt this last weekend,
No,
right?
he's been hunting with me before.
A deer hunt. Or has he been deer
hunting? He's been
deer
hunting before,
okay.
But I didn't let him shoot because we haven't spent enough time at the range. He's getting good with the shotgun, but I don't trust him with the rifle to possibly injure a deer. I wouldn't want to risk that. So,
is he going to shoot a doe for Thanksgiving?
I'm still not ready unless we get out to the range here at the farm and really get to shooting with that suppressor. I don't trust him yet. I thought about getting some of those big printout targets with the deer where you could actually shoot under the shoulder, but I don't trust him yet. I don't know.
I wonder if that kicks more than Parker's 243. Because 243 is kind of like the universal deer hunting.
So maybe that's a transition back to the caliber. So that gun is a 6.5 Creedmoor Savage Arms with a suppressor, which is a very fair priced.
The one that you've been taking Lincoln with.
Yeah, it's a very decently priced. It's like $1,500. It's
pretty expensive, actually.
It's expensive for the medium expensed guns. You know what I mean? But it's not like you're. Anyway, oh, there it is. That's yours.
There it is.
If you're watching on YouTube, Tyler is holding his first buck up.
December 1994, Shackelford County, it says in the back.
So I was 11 years old. That's my dad wrote that. This was my first buck. Shot it with the 270 we were talking about, and it came out to the left of me and Dad, and we thought it was a squirrel, and then he walked out like 20 yards to the left of me, and I think he made it to the corn feeder in Texas. We hunt over corn. Don't get mad at us.
And how old were you, did you say?
What did I say? 11. How old's Lincoln?
9. So, what gun did you say that was, Tyler?
Look how cool that his brows are right there. 270.
A 270? And you were 11 years old? That's a lot of kick.
In the deer blind, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have it in a blind, you don't feel it as much. I mean, if you're just freestanding, it will.
I don't know. Maybe that was just in my head, but I always figured a 270 was just super powerful.
Yeah, the thing about that Weatherby Vanguard is it's a heavy-bodied gun too. It's got that wood grain, so it's not for elk hunting in Colorado hiking, you know.
So to finish out this portion,
what did you shoot? Yeah,
my first deer was a doe with Dad in a deer blind in Bosque County at the ranch, and I used a 7mm 08. So maybe the same gun.
It was definitely the same one.
It's crazy that guns just get passed down like that.
That's definitely
so cool.
the same.
20 years later,
and
25 years later,
I bought a 7mm 08 from Joey Jones. That then I shot that for a while before the Savage Arms 6.5 Creedmoor. So that's comment below if you're listening to this podcast on a format where you can comment. If you've ever shot a 7mm 08, a 270. 243 is another one we shoot a lot.
Yeah, so I was at the ranch last weekend and I shot the 270 that we're talking about. The barrel's coming off the stock. I need to fix it and mess around with it. But I shot a buck with a 25-06, which I think is I got that gun for Dad a long time ago for Christmas. I guess it was from all of us. But I think that's the first deer I actually shot with it.
So Preston, who's my biggest hunting friend, he's as close to a professional hunter as you can get, as far as the dude has traveled the world. He's done like the Dall sheep hunt in the Northwest Territory of Canada, the ridiculously expensive hunts. He's done them all. But he has been shooting this 300 WSM, which is a Winchester short mag. And he's shooting it's a Christensen Arms 300 WSM. Knowing Preston, and he also shoots an MG Arms 308. Knowing Preston, like these are going to be really, really solid straight shooting, light, ultra light, probably for high backpacking, kind of like my Savage Arms. My Savage Arms is an ultra light. But so comment below if you've shot the 300 WSM, because if Preston shoots it, or this MG Arms 308, I'm interested. And he said I'd also throw Red Rock Precision up there. I've seen them on numerous high country hunts, and they perform very well. What I'm kind of talking about is I'm interested in a rifle that you could shoot sitting in a deer blind with Lincoln, shooting a doe, or you could knock down a nice mule deer in
That's going to be the 243.
Mexico, or you can take down an elk.
Then you got to go up to the 270. 243 will still work, but 270 is kind of the bottom for elk. They can also do whitetail.
Or a big ram in Alaska.
So this kind of transitions to what is the best all-around hunting rifle.
And I think that I've always thought that lately that's the 6.5 Creedmoor, which is a newer caliber. But that's, man, I got that thing dialed in. My Savage Arms, I got that. I get so excited. Amber she's like, this is ridiculous. But I took Amber out to the range here the other day, and I was like, watch this. And I can get that thing like millimeters in triads. It's crazy.
And there's not a whole lot of kick on that, right?
At 100 yards. Well, it's got a suppressor on it, so it doesn't hardly kick at all. But
this is like, discussion is like with trucks. You're going to have people that live and die by one and hate the other.
But if someone's genuinely just looking for a hunting rifle, they like, I want to take my son out. I want a gun that's going to be around for 30 years. What do you think it is?
243. 270 is probably a close second. 30-06 is super popular too, but that's a little bigger.
What are the pros of the 243? Why should they get a 243?
Because it's enough power to knock down pretty much anything you want to knock down. And it's light, accurate. Not much of a kick.
What's the price difference?
You have that 243 from Uncle Steve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it.
So here's that Christensen Arms Ridgeline 300 WSM bolt action. It's $2,000.
How much is a 243?
I mean, you can get one for $500.
It depends on the gun. So like a Remington 700, which I shot that Joey Jones sold me that 7mm 08 Remington 700. That's like your just baseline, which I guess Remington's out of business.
Those are expensive.
But yeah, that's an expensive gun.
Yeah, that's Preston's gun. He's a fancy hunter.
That's what I'm saying.
He wears Sitka and Cooey and all those fancy camos.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, okay. Here's another question. Maybe this is another podcast. But can you mix Sitka and Kuiu?
Is it Kuyu or
top
Kui?
top and bottom.
You can do whatever you want to do.
I'm saying there's this weird like hunting style ethics thing now. All of a sudden, it's very strange. And I feel it. I don't do it. I don't live by this, but I do feel it when I'm like grabbing camo out of the closet. And in my mind, I think, does the top camo match the bottom camo? And then I get mad at myself for thinking something so stupid. Like, what are you trying to set a style for? You're by yourself in the field, right? But there's an interesting thought that our culture has done to us. It's like, does the camo match?
Yeah, it's kind of like buying DeWalt drill bits and then having like a Milwaukee drill. Like, you should just pick one. Just pick one and stick with it. I get it. I definitely get the thought in your mind, but then I also understand getting upset with yourself. It's like, I shouldn't care. But then also it's like, I don't know. That's kind of like psychopath material. Is somebody who doesn't care and just grabs 4 different camos and puts them all on. I feel like you should pick one.
You don't need camo. Just don't wear blue jeans because they can see blue or something like that with their eyes. But
the thing about camo these days, though, is it's just gotten so specialized and good. Like for the weather, for the wetness, for the dryness, for cactus, for airing out, zippers on the sides, pockets, warmth, waterproof, snowproof. So they've gotten so specialized. And over the last few years, all of us 3 brothers have kind of like, when Christmas time comes around, usually Amber will send us a Kuyu link and like, hey, Kuyu's having a sale. 30% off, 50% off. Do you guys want anything? So it's like every Christmas we load up on some of the higher end camo, which maybe one day Yee Yee should get into. Just saying.
Tyler and I are working on a custom hunting jacket for next fall that we think will be real tree. Favorite animal to hunt?
Deer, by far. Whitetail.
Yeah, there's a nostalgia to it. There's something in it. Everyone's going to have their own opinion. But when you see, and for me, what I dream about since I was a kid is a big white-tailed buck with drop tines and a big neck from the rut. And there's cactus and mesquite trees symbolizing South Texas protein. There's something about that I think the more I hunt the world, there's always that nostalgia. And you see that with a hunter like Preston. It's a good example. He's hunted the world. He's been to Africa. He's been to Asia.
Yeah, but it's also where you're from. And Preston is from Texas. We're from Texas. And you grew up in Texas going to high school football games and white-tailed deer hunting.
You're saying morning. Exactly what I'm saying. Like so Preston's a good example. He hunts the world, but his main deal is he has a ranch where he hunts whitetail because of the nostalgia. So wherever you live, you go after the nostalgia of where you're from, I think is.
Yeah. So to that point, if we grew up in New Mexico, we might love elk hunting and mule deer.
Same
there's
thing.
No whitetail there.
Yeah. Same thing with largemouth bass. Like I can go on the redfish hunt. I can go on the redfish trip and I can go fish trout, rainbow trout, speckled trout in the salt water, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's a pond in Texas with the mist coming off of the water in March 5th, and there we are with Dad fishing.
Tyler and I went to go see the movie The Blind about the Robertson family, and super nostalgic in the Louisiana swamp, right? Louisiana.
I've never been duck hunting.
And I saw they were showing like them in the duck blind with the morning mist coming in, and then you hear those ducks in the distance and they do the call. And I just didn't grow up doing that, but dude, I could see how that would be such an awesome adrenaline rush, memories with your dad or your family or your buddies.
You should never duck hunt.
You don't like it?
Because you will get addicted to it. Oh. Your personality.
Have you done it?
Yes, with Preston.
Are you addicted to it?
We used to go. Well, I don't have a connection We could go guide, but hey, if you're listening, you want to take us. You want to take the three Smith brothers? We'd love to. But dude, what Parker's saying, it combines bird hunting with deer hunting, really, because you're in the blind. But they come in, and
it's easier than dove hunting, right? Because they're bigger.
Yeah, they're much bigger. But they come in, and you see them from a long way away, and you see them coming. But the call gets them to turn around and circle back. So if they're like flying over, you can call, and they'll see you, and they'll either come back, or if they're flying out, the call might hold them back. But they're like jets, man. They make the big loop, and they're coming back. He's coming back around. They're coming back around, and they come in and they spread their wings out, and you could pick which one you want, and it's addicting.
There's something so cool about duck hunting because like it takes strategy, like you said. Whereas you don't just go like growing up dove hunting, I'd just go get my bucket, couple of Coors Lights with my buddies, and we just like go sit on the bucket and just kind of sit around. But duck hunting, like you said, it's like you pick your spot, you put your decoys in a certain area, you have to get there at a certain time, and then when you see them coming, it's like your call matters. If your call is trash, then they're not going to turn around. They're going to recognize that it's not real, and you can literally turn a whole flock around.
You could turn a whole flock, and you're like, oh my gosh, and they start coming back to you, and you're getting ready, and you're freezing cold, and you're trying to be still because they're so sensitive to movement.
And there's less of a hassle if you do shoot. As with a deer, it's amazing, but it's a lot of responsibility to like, okay, we got to get this thing gutted. We got to get it processed. It's going to be a big ordeal. So, yeah. Honorable mention, I'd say elk hunting. Obviously amazing to go out with a bow into the mountains on a 7-day trip, but huge barrier to entry in terms of cost, in terms of training. You see the Cameron Haynes, the Joe Rogans that have made it popular, Hannah Barons, which that'd be incredible, but it's just the average person just can't do that. Like I don't think I'd want to spend $3,000, on an elk tag, train, get all the gear. How much they cost? The elk tags are super expensive.
If you get
plus gear, plus the travel.
There is nothing like that sound.
Yeah, they've been doing that the past few months at the ranch.
So Lincoln and I were in the deer blind, or that tripod that you put up the other day, and I heard that because our neighbor in Central Texas has a bunch of elk, high fenced, and you hear that, and Lincoln was just like, la, 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 and I was like, hey, you know what that sound is? He's like, huh? A bird? I was like, no, man, that sound is the call for all hunters worldwide. That's the call that gives you chills. That's the call that just brings you to your knees. That's the elk bugle. And he was like, huh? And I've only done that once in Colorado, and going through the mountains, that's one of the toughest hunts because it's hard. It's hard backpacking. It's hard getting to them. You probably are never, I don't know what the percentage is, you're probably never going to see them.
Yeah, to Parker's point, it's like, who has when's the last time you had a week to go?
You have to love it.
Usually the best we have is like a weekend. So that's why it's tough for us.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. That's the hunting episode. Comment below, you guys, your favorite caliber for deer hunting. What's the best gun? What's the best caliber? And then your favorite animal to shoot.
And your first caliber that you shot your first deer with.
What was your first? What do you think is the best overall? And then favorite animal to hunt.
270 whitetail deer.
6.5 Creedmoor whitetail deer.
What was your first?
First was a 7mm 08.
Parker.
First was a 7mm 08. I don't really have a preference for the best. 243. It's probably a little bit more powerful. Probably just go with whatever Tyler said. Favorite animal to hunt? Whitetail.
Favorite animal to hunt? Hogs.
Honestly, hogs are a lot of fun. All right. See you guys next time.